Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark, two figures who become synonymous with basketball prowess, shook the scene with an announcement that seemed to defy even the wildest speculations. Just 1 minute before news broke, the anticipation in the basketball community was already crackling like static in the air. Fans had their eyes glued to notifications, ready for anything but the bombshell these two dropped together. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Stephanie White, known for her sharp basketball IQ and commanding presence as a coach, has built her reputation through years of dedication and no-nonsense leadership. She had her roots set deeply in the young NBA, first as a fierce player and later as a coach who could read a game like an open book. White, with her signature sideline stances, arms folded, eyes narrowed, had built a legacy of taking promising talent and molding them into something formidable. If there was ever a leader who could stir an entire team into a fighting unit, it was Stephanie. On the other hand, Caitlin Clark, younger and teeming with raw energy, had rapidly carved out her place as one of college basketball's standout stars. She was known for playing with a kind of audacious confidence that left defenders scrambling and audiences buzzing. Clark's three-point shots were things of beauty, released with such ease they seemed almost casual. Her style was fiery yet precise, a balance that kept her in the headlines game after game. What made her even more compelling was her on-court demeanor. Grins after tough shots, playful nods at competitors, and a quick wit in post-game interviews. Fans loved it, opponents had learned to hate it. This particular announcement involving White and Clark sent shockwaves not just through their own circles, but across all levels of basketball. It wasn't about a routine game, an endorsement deal, or even a mere coaching shift. It was something that shifted focus entirely. The two had collaborated to launch a new initiative aimed at revolutionizing training for young athletes, incorporating both mental and physical coaching strategies that they believed had been sorely missing from traditional regimens. White's contribution came with her laser-focused approach to tactics and game strategy. Her belief in nurturing not just skill but also decision-making made her a tactical giant. For White, training wasn't just about running drills until legs gave out. It was about teaching players to think 3 moves ahead. She wanted players who could keep their cool when chaos reigned on the court. The program she and Clark introduced promised to blend the strategic with the spontaneous, which was where Caitlin's flair came in. Clark's involvement meant there would be an undeniable burst of modern energy. Her section of the initiative included game-like scenarios meant to emulate the high-stress, high-reward shots that had made her famous. The drills were set up so that players would have to react quickly, trust their instincts, and maybe even throw in a smile after a particularly tough play, just like Clark did. Her method was playful but also unforgiving. One misbeat, one sloppy move, and you'd hear about it from her. The goal wasn't just to develop skills but to instill a relentless drive to outdo oneself. The duality of White's experienced, thoughtful structure and Clark's fierce, kinetic pace made this joint effort feel like a perfect storm. It wasn't just another camp or a series of online videos. It was a carefully crafted blueprint for building champions, mentally resilient and technically sound athletes. This was where White's no-excuses ethos met Clark's fun but focused approach. For those familiar with their individual styles, this collaboration felt almost surreal. White was known for her brief but impactful sideline pep talks that turned struggling teams around. Imagine her addressing a room full of young players, her voice steady, explaining why holding the line under pressure was as important as the final buzzer. Then there was Clark, leaning against a wall, half-smiling and throwing in a cheeky, "And if you mess up, well, you'll hear about it later." Their different energies somehow meshed into something that promised to be more effective than either alone. The announcement featured both women detailing segments of their new project, with a mix of earnestness and humor. White spoke with the authority of someone who had spent countless seasons seeing where young players fell short and knowing exactly how to fix it. Clark's turn to speak was peppered with a kind of light-hearted swagger that made her famous. "Listen," she said, "if I can hit a 3 with 2 defenders practically on my face, you can handle what we're going to throw at you." The room cracked up, but the undercurrent of challenge was clear. The basketball community's response was swift and electric. Athletes from high school hopefuls to semi-pro players buzzed with anticipation. What could these two formidable women teach that the existing systems weren't? The expectation was that it would blend rigorous on-court work with off-court mental prep, the kind that doesn't show up in game stats but makes all the difference between a good player and a great one. This project wasn't a product of whimsy. It was rooted in each woman's unique experience. White's coaching career taught her that many young talents could perform drills to perfection, but struggled under game pressure. It wasn't enough to just have the physical skill. You needed the brain to guide it when stakes were high. Clark had learned through her own climb to stardom that there was more to victory than skill alone. She won games with confidence and the willingness to take risks that others might shy away from. Their shared realization was simple but powerful. Winning wasn't just about being the fastest or the strongest. It was about being the smartest and the most fearless. It wasn't just young players who took notice. Coaches from youth leagues to high school programs watched closely, knowing they were about to see a shift in how the next generation would be trained. The mix of technical drills, real game scenarios, and the mental fortitude that White and Clark emphasized was something even seasoned coaches found themselves nodding along with. Some chuckled at the thought of their young players reacting to a Stephanie White talk, a blend of inspiring and a little terrifying. The choice of partners for this initiative was telling. White's serious demeanor balanced out Clark's youthful vibrancy. It was evident in their interactions during the announcement. White's brow would furrow when she discussed the importance of preparation, while Clark would roll her eyes just enough to make everyone smile before breaking into a genuine nod of agreement. Their dynamic gave the sense that, while White kept everything grounded, Clark would make sure it stayed fun. This partnership wasn't just efficient, it was charismatic, promising an approach that felt both modern and deeply rooted in basketball fundamentals. One interesting part of the announcement was the anecdote Clark shared about her early career. As a freshman, she once practiced a shot so much that her coach told her to sit down because everyone else needed the hoop. She laughed as she recounted that moment and pointed out how relentless practice and playful competition could transform frustration into a tool for growth. White chimed in dryly, noting how many young players could use more of that stubborn determination and less hesitation in game-time decisions. It was this blend of hard work and clever self-motivation that they aimed to teach. Stephanie White's motivation came from years of watching players, even those with raw talent, fall short of their potential. Her philosophy was rooted in the idea that mental sharpness could amplify physical skills to an extraordinary degree. Meanwhile, Clark wanted to break the mold of training that felt repetitive and uninspired. She aimed to inject excitement and challenge, making practice feel like the game itself, with just a hint of pressure and plenty of surprises. With the blend of these two minds, the blueprint laid out wasn't just for making better athletes. It was about creating more resilient individuals. Both women spoke passionately about how their experiences showed them the value of mental strength. White's voice lowered when she discussed young players facing setbacks, injuries, losses, moments of doubt. Clark responded with her typical half grin, adding that sometimes the best remedy was to shoot a three, shrug, and move on. It was this harmony of somber realism and bold playfulness that felt genuinely exciting. The implications of this program stretched beyond its immediate target. As this kind of training was set to roll out in select areas before expanding, everyone knew it would affect more than just those who enrolled. The coaches would adapt, competition would shift, and new stars would rise with training that gave them not just the tools but the mindset to use them effectively.